Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, what's going on, everybody? I appreciate you tuning in. In this video, I actually did a mock draft with Nick from the Fantasy Football Advice YouTube channel. Be sure to check out his channel. Be sure to check out what they got going on over there. If you have not yet already, it's a really good channel, so I appreciate it if you go over there. And also, before we get into this mock draft, if you're brand new here, welcome. We got a ton of content, probably backlogged over 60 videos, close to it right now. And I can guarantee you another 60 to 90 videos are going to come out before the fantasy football season starts. So everything you need, fantasy football, check it out, the 2020 Fantasy Football Playlist. The draft guide is going to be coming out June 15th as well. I'll link it up in every single video description once it is out, as well as just some pre-order information. It'll be like $10 thanks to Monkey Knife Fight, the sponsor of this video. So appreciate y'all being here. If you're brand new, enjoy it. It's a mock draft. We do these things once or twice a week, sometimes with the following. And in this one, I did a little bit of a collaboration. Excited to release this one for you. Before we get into it, smash that big like button, hit that bad boy, tap the subscribe button and the notification bell. When you do that within the video, it's the best way to support me for free as a creator because it lets YouTube show this video to more people. And also be sure to check out the top 25 running back rankings that are totally for free down below as of today in PPR formats in the description. Check those out, download those, see what's going on there. So just the quick basics of this draft itself. It was a 12-team PPR format. It was just me and Nick in the draft actually drafting. The rest was auto-picked using expert consensus rankings. We had 2 minutes per pick to kind of talk through our picks. It gave us a nice amount of time to breathe and talk through them. 14 rounds overall, and it was just PPR, no superflex, just one QB standard in that format. I believe 4 points for a passing touchdown. So you can see just our strategies here. We go through the draft, and at the end of the draft, we kind of break down this draft board over my back right now. So a little bit of a foreshadowing if you're kind of looking at the picks right now. Totally fine. I appreciate it. You want to stick through all the way to the end. You can see us break down our individual strategies. You could also see us break down maybe where we went wrong. And then some really nice tips that I thought at the end was a nice conversation about just roster spots, bench spots, and how you should get your league to kind of add more and the benefits to all of that for you and just some examples. So thanks for being here. Like button, subscribe, notification bell, all those things. Sit back, relax like we always do, and let's get into this video.
The early picks are pretty easy. I mean, you basically take one of the top 5 running backs, just like the top 5 picks. I got Zeke at 3. I think it's McCaffrey, Barkley, then Zeke for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have Zeke at 3 as well. I mean, I've seen people putting Kamara at 3. I see the reason for putting him there. I just don't completely agree with it. You need everything to go right, in my opinion, for Kamara to be there, whereas you would need a lot to go wrong for Zeke just to finish like outside the top 5. Zeke's fallen a good amount though lately, but let me see what's on the clock right now. So we had a bunch of running backs, like always 6, 7 running backs already gone.
Yeah,
Let me see who's still. Yeah, Josh Jacobs went really early in this. That's crazy. I always get to this spot in these drafts, and if I'm like picking between 6th and honestly, I guess 10th for this draft, I always just end up with so much Joe Mixon. Like right now, if it's best balls or whatever, so I'm going to take Joe Mixon here at the 10th overall pick. I have him as my 6th ranked running back.
And grabbing a running back in the first round, just every time we've looked back and like tried to determine if we should have gone wide receiver, it's just always smart to just take the running back.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then this year, especially how quickly they die out. I do think that there are some really good, depending on how big your draft is, 10 to 12 teams. There's some pretty good 3rd, 4th round running backs. But I'm on the clock again here at the 2-3. And yeah, I mean, right now, what I've mainly been doing in most drafts is just snagging back-to-back running backs. So I got Mixon in the first round. My best available is Miles Sanders. And I think it's just going to be easy. I'm going to go ahead and take Miles Sanders over Aaron Jones, Eckler, some of those guys, and start off with back-to-back running backs.
That's probably the exact same thing I would have started off with too. We do see 2 quarterbacks the 2nd round. I don't think always happens. Sometimes they go into the 3rd. And then Travis Kelce was the only tight end taken so far. I'm not going to take quarterback at this pick. You'd only consider Kittle, but I'm not taking Kittle. So it'll only be running back or wide receiver. For running backs, it'd be like Eckler, Aaron Jones, and Drake. I usually get to this range, and like I say, Cooper and Golladay are kind of a tier ahead, maybe of like Thielen, Kupp, Brown, Ridley. But like, pretty sure one of them is still going to be left at my 3. And I don't want to take 2 wide receivers here. I might take Drake, to be honest. I know he might be there though at the next pick, but I have Drake ahead of all these running backs. And starting off with Zeke and Drake, I think would be a really nice start. So I think I'm going to do that, even though it's a reach here, but I don't think it's a reach on other sites right now.
Yeah, I think I actually like it. Like getting to Kenny and Drake in the mid to late 2nd, for me, like that would be really optimal, especially with Zeke. Like there's the downsides of Edmonds being there. He doesn't see 3 downs, but like I think there's the upsides for Kenny and Drake to touch the ball 300 to 350 times with his passing game involvement. So I had Eckler higher than Drake, but like by the time the season comes, I think I'm going to end up pushing Drake higher. Everything that just keeps coming out about Eckler, the more I look into him, it's like last season was the perfect year for him. And
Yeah.
I actually think if anything, it might get worse.
Yeah, well, in his quarterback situation, like we don't know. Maybe whoever ends up being a quarterback for like more time. I don't really know when they're gonna like do the split. We don't know exactly how much they're gonna target running backs. Like Rivers just loves doing it, so
Yeah.
there's a little bit more risk with him. Whereas Drake, whoever the lead back is there, I know is gonna be good. Probably not gonna take a running back with this one. I would consider Clyde would be like the one running back I would take here, and I might consider doing that. But it would be nice to grab one of these wide receivers because like Thielen, Cup, Brown, Ridley are not going to be available. And Allen Robinson, actually, I'm doing it. I'm going Clyde with this pick.
I
All my
like that a
picks look
lot.
like reaches, but like the upside of having Zeke, Drake, Clyde is like the lead back on like really good offenses.
Yeah, I mean, I like that a lot. Like, I think ideally 3 out of your first 4 picks should be running backs, the way that it's setting
Yeah,
up. And honestly, like 4 out of your first 5 if you really want to, because then you could pick
probably.
4 guys in a redraft. Yeah, and you could just be done. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at the clock now. You were talking about Allen Robinson a lot, and I was clenching over here because I've got him as my best wide receiver left. So I'm considering it. I think, yeah, right here is another wide receiver running back pick. But just based on all the running backs that just went off the board, Bell's gone. I believe Carson, yeah, Gurley. The best thing that I have left, I think Todd Gurley might still be it. Todd Gurley's still out here. So that's like the best available that we're looking at the running back position. It's interesting to start with a Mixon, Sanders, and Gurley build. Wide receiver range, though, don't have anybody yet, but I got a quick pick here after that. And there's still a lot of good wide receivers left on the board,
Yeah.
whether you're looking at DJ Moore, Odell, Allen Robinson. I think I'm going to start similar to what you just did. I think I'm going to start here with 3 running backs to start this one off. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Todd Gurley over the likes of Melvin Gordon, Montgomery, Singletary here. So I have him ranked the highest left at running back. So I'll start 3 running backs as well.
Yeah, and you can still get Robinson with this next pick if you want him.
That's just crazy. Yeah. So this is the turn goes around. 2 wide receivers go. Ridley, I was actually looking at, but as a wide receiver one, definitely want Robinson here. So it just makes it easy. Like I think, yeah, there's really nothing else that I would really consider. Maybe Odell at that point. He's in these rankings pretty far down, but Robinson, I have 2 spots ahead. So I'll take Robinson. I like to start 3 running backs and a receiver.
Yeah, I think going running back at that 3rd spot there was smart because even if Robinson got taken, I would have been fine with that next pick taking Ridley or Brown. And the odds that all of those guys got taken pretty low, I think, at least. So you were pretty much guaranteed to get one of those 3.
Yeah, and then like the other thing that I probably don't do a good job right now in mock drafts, but as the season gets closer, like the guy after me took back-to-back receivers. So the odds that he was taking 2 receivers, definitely not, but even 1 was probably unlikely. And then he ended up going back-to-back running backs.
Right. Yeah, he definitely was not taking 2. I need to take a wide receiver with at least one of these next picks. So Juju, Odell, and DJ Moore, I feel like one of them will be available at the next pick. I don't love going 4 running backs to start, but if you do that, then you can just abandon the position until like, I don't know, round 12 and just grab like a handcuff, maybe. Like I could just grab like Tony Pollard and like I could grab Tony Pollard and Edmonds after that and just basically lock in running back for the whole season. And I do like Montgomery. I think he's locked into a ton of touches, but I also like Jonathan Taylor. I'm down to Juju or running back. I'm going to do Juju. I'm pretty sure at least one of these running backs will still be there. So Montgomery does go. Odell goes, but yeah, I still have a running back. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I can take Jonathan Taylor with this pick, or I could do Kareem Hunt. I really do like Kareem Hunt this year, just not ahead of Jonathan Taylor. I could grab DJ Moore. I would have definitely considered Odell though. If I could pair Juju and Odell with the running backs I had, I would have loved that.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to just take Taylor and just, I'm good at running back now, and then I'm just going to like load up on wide receiver with the next like 4 or 5 picks.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the 4 running backs in your first 5 picks, if it lands that way with like Montgomery and Jonathan Taylor in the 5th round, like that's fantastic. Like doing drafts right now, I think you can get him there in the 4th round. I'll be interested to see where he goes, but that's a great pick. Like that's a good start. I like both the rookies too for the upsides after you get like the stable backs, but 6 receivers going road. DJ Moore stayed on the board in the 5th round. Like this is David Montgomery's gone.
I think he's my last top tier. Like there's a huge drop off for me after DJ Moore right now.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Like I think I actually have Robert Woods really high. I have Robert Woods as my 12th receiver, but he went. So there's a huge drop off to like, I think it's like 13 spots after DJ Moore. So these people just don't want DJ Moore, but I'll go ahead and I'll snatch him. The draft like right now, sort of easy for me the way that Allen Robinson and DJ Moore kind of fall, but getting
Hmm.
3 receivers. They're getting 2 receivers after 3 running backs. Probably going to try and go back to running back before it just becomes an absolute wasteland, and it already almost is. Kareem Hunt, guys, the only really notable is I think Cam Akers is still there. Yeah, it's just a weird spot. Like if this was a dynasty draft, I would be trying to trade back out of the situation because I mean, you get a couple quarterbacks to go off the board. I mean, Kyler went, yeah, you get Watson and Wilson on that turn. Raheem Mostert, who I didn't really want. Tight end, I still don't want. So
No.
I'm still looking running back, wide receiver. And yeah, at this point, you're in sort of that wasteland of this in between tier at wide receiver where some of the guys look okay. None of them look fantastic. Exact same thing with running back. But after this next pick for me, running back becomes the wastelands of all the RBBCs and maybe some unproven rookies. So looking at Cam Akers, guys, Hunt. Akers, I like the upside in volume, but I'm just concerned about the offensive line in general. Hunt, honestly, I think Hunt has the ability to just rival as a top 15 back, very close to Nick Chubb if he can catch anywhere near what he was on pace for last year. So I'm looking at Hunt. Guys I like, but those knees are shot. They scare me. I'm going to go Kareem Hunt here with my 4th running back pick to start we're now in the 6th round.
Yeah, I think that's the correct pick. I'm just like all over Hunt this year because like
Yeah.
it feels like worst case scenario, he's going to return value. But like he's one of those players that if Chubb ever did get hurt, I mean he's top 5, right? I mean every single week he'll be a top 5 running back, and
Yeah.
you can't really say that about anyone in this range. And it's not like you're sacrificing because he's going to have a ton of receptions and he's still going to score. So
Yeah, and I think the thing that stands out too is just like you said, he's the very rare handcuff, if you will, that like in given weeks he can still be an RB1.
So I was just taking a gander at running back, but there's no one that stands out that I'm going to take. So I'm definitely taking a different position, nothing at tight end. And then I would have considered Dak at this pick, but he got taken in like the early to mid 6. So basically have to go with wide receiver here. I guess Landry would be like a safe pick. We know what we're going to get with Landry. There's not too many unknowns. Marquise Brown's a really good player. Gallup was really good last year, and there's so many targets available. I prefer Lamb if you can get him really late. For me, Parker is like, he's just like the guy there. I know Williams, I like late as well, but I mean, they can both be good. It's not like he has any competition. They didn't draft anyone except like a 7th round pick or something. So he's like locked into his role. I'm cool with that. And they're improved, but they're still going to be losing games. So they're going to need to throw late.
I'm a huge Preston Williams, beginning of last year. This is why I just like feel strongly about him. Like I like him a lot in the preseason. He had like an insane catch, but he was balling out the first 8 weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's even myself, like you have to really weigh a wide receiver off of a rookie, nonetheless, off of a midseason ACL tear. It's risky. Like there's a good chance they don't come back the same person, or at least not right away, getting their feet back under them. So yeah, I think Parker's dropping for a lot of people, but I mean, 6th round pick for Devontae Parker, end of the 6th round, is a lot of upside there.
He was incredible. Like if you look at his stats to end last season, he was awesome. And yeah, we think Preston Williams was good. He was good, but I think it was like November he tore his ACL, and you just don't know sometimes. Sometimes it takes a year to come back. I mean, hopefully he comes back good, but we don't really know. I was considering Gallup with that last pick, and he didn't go. So I think for me, the pick here is Gallup. I don't remember where he ranked in yards per game, but I'm pretty sure it was like top 10. I don't want to be quoted on that, but he was really high in yards per game last season. I know they bring in Lamb, but they also lost like 190 targets, and the offense is going to be insane. So the touchdowns are going to be there. Like, I just think if you just get this team, I don't even care that I took Zeke. Like, I just want players on this offense.
Yeah, I like it. I like Gallup. I think that honestly, I think that all these guys can survive out there. If anything, you might the argument might be that Amari, he was super efficient last year. He just sees the drop because Cobb was like, as much as people want to knock on Randall Cobb turning 30 years old, like he had 800 yards. He was like a top 20 efficiency wide receiver in the entire league last year, had like 7 drops out of the slot. But now you're going to put a guy in a CD Lamb in there. Yeah, maybe he does a little bit better, but I'm not going to project him for 1,000 yards. So yeah, I don't think there's much to take away from Gallup, but he's just complete. I think he's going to keep falling too, as people just like to continue to take CD Lamb as the summer goes on. But I got 4 receivers, or I got 4 running backs. I got 2 wide receivers here. So I'm looking for a wide receiver. I'm looking right now at the guys who just went off the board. Brandon Cooks was up there for me. Gallup was up there as well. So right now my best availables are just guys that I really don't like taking, like Julian Edelman, maybe a safe floor there, maybe a little bit undervalued right now, just all the hate on the Patriots offense. Deebo Samuel's still there. I really don't have many shares of him. Under a minute left. Cam Akers, is he still on the board? It might make me take I can't take a 5th running back. I'm just I need receivers. So I'm looking Deontay Johnson, 7th round. He's just getting so overtaken at this point, even though I like the guy, but I might try and get him at my next pick. 30 seconds left. Debo and Julian Edelman are left. I think I might go for, so I got Edelman on the board. I think I'm going to go to Edelman here. End of the 7th round as my third receiver. I never really like taking him because there's not much upside, but that spot right there, just a bunch of guys that don't have a ton of upside. And Akers goes in the turn. He would have been a guy I thought about taking here in
Yeah.
the 8th round. So a couple running backs go. Don't really need those. So yeah, I think this is the time when I'm actually fine reaching on to take Akers off, take Edelman off. I'm probably going to take Deontay Johnson here. And as I say that, I think that he was fantastic value in like the 10th and 11th round. And now I see him going in like the 6th and 7th round, Deontay, that is. And
Yeah.
if I get him in the 8th or 9th, right now I feel okay taking him, but he's starting to get really overrated or overdrafted.
You always see those players that, like, if everyone loves a player in April, you can almost guarantee that he's not going to be a value come August.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah,
because
exactly.
no one has said anything bad about him, because like there's really nothing there to point out that's like, why we shouldn't be drafting him. And so he's just going to keep climbing. Like he could go into like the 6th and 7th round, and at that point it's going to be like, I don't know, like you're in the same range of like Parker and McLaurin, and like, no, I'm not doing that, especially with
Yeah.
Juju coming back.
Yeah, he's being drafted. Like I think he'll be soon drafted at his ceiling, and then all the value is
Yeah,
just gone.
yeah. Then you need him to be what we think the ceiling is. I know I said I was going to hammer out wide receiver. I did a decent job at getting Juju, Parker, Gallup. I do need more, but I don't have to take one with this pick because I don't even know who I would take. Like I can't take Lamb actually. That's usually my pick, but like I'm cool getting like Crowder, I guess Kirk, but like not with this pick. I'm not going to take Crowder. I don't know. There's like just some names like Pittman, Miller that I kind of like later, but I'm not just going to consider them here. So I guess I might just take Dobbins. Feels kind of like a reach. I could go with the quarterback and take Josh Allen. He's like my last tier 1 quarterback, I think. And I never take tight ends early. I just don't consider it. So I'm going to go with Dobbins and just grab all the rookie running backs, I guess. But it's just the upside again. Ingram would ever get hurt. He's like a top 10, I guess we'll say. But even if he doesn't, he's going to get volume. And he's my running back 5. It's fine if I just let him sit on my bench for practically the whole season because I feel pretty good about my top 4. And now I'm at the point where I just don't need to touch running back at all. And all the wide receivers I was kind of considering are still on the board. And since I don't know again, I'm probably not even going to touch wide receiver again. Allen and Ryan go. I don't think I'm going to take a quarterback. So I'm looking tight end here. I usually wait more, but I don't think there's a point in waiting at this point. I would just be reaching on a wide receiver and then hoping that a tight end falls. So I might as well just take the tight end I like the most. That's Higbee right now. I don't know 100% what they're going to do on offense, but I have to think that they're going to use Higbee a lot with Everett. I have to think they're going to run a lot of just 2 wide receiver sets with Higbee and Everett on the field at the same time. And if that's the case, like Higbee's a really good value in the 9th round.
Yeah, I think that was the pick there. Like I was looking at the board too in terms of maybe going like now starting to go to tight end, even though it's the 9th round, into the 9th round. So I think it's about that time. 10th round is usually where I'll start to target them. But yeah, I think Higbee was the pick there. I'm looking at it right now. Receivers, there's guys like McCole Hardman. There's guys like just John Browns, and then some of the rookies start to pop up on the board. So not really looking too much at any of them. Crowder's still on the board, who's interesting. I got 4 receivers. I got 4 running backs, so it does seem like the time here on this turn to go. Quarterbacks started coming off the board too, so start to go tight end and then maybe run it back with a quarterback with these 2 picks, and then just finish up the draft with a bunch of receivers and running backs. So looking at tight end, there's a decent amount of names left that I might be able to pull one off at the 10th round turn here, but the difference there is just quarterback for me. So I think I'm going to go to quarterback tight end here. I look at these names, and Hayden Hurst stands out the most. Another guy like similar to Deontay Johnson that only people are saying positive things, which does worry me. Getting him at the 9th round, end of the 9th round, 10th round turn. Don't hate it. Other names on the board are Jared Cook, Gesicki. So I think I'm going to go Hayden Hurst here. Just bank on that passing game upside, bank on his college profile a little bit. He'll be my 9th round pick.
Yeah, they throw the ball like every play. So
It's
he
nuts.
should just step into all those targets, basically.
You know what's crazy is like I watch so many Falcons games because like playing DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, they're just always like a great team to own. And Julio Jones, he'll have like 50 yards the first 3 quarters. The 4th quarter, they're trailing whatever it is, he'll pick up like 70 yards in the quarter, and then he just finishes with a monster game. Hardman goes up the board. I was looking at him. Crowder's still there, and he's just like you know what you're going to get. You're going to get like 900 yards and like 6 touchdowns. And I mean,
Hmm.
it's good for the 10th round right now, but there's like guys, upside guys later on. I want to make sure I don't miss out on quarterback because by the time my 11th pick comes around, end of the 11th, a lot of these guys might be gone. So I'm looking at what's on the board right now at quarterback. There are good names left. Like, I mean, Tom Brady's still there. I have him as he's neck and neck right now, Brady and Stafford as my two best available quarterbacks. Daniel Jones. Will one of these guys fall? I'm going to not think so. So
I'm not. Yeah,
got
I'm not
Brady
sure I would
ranked.
risk it at that point.
Yeah, right. This is like because then your whole draft is just really messed up if I'm relying on Kirk Cousins or somebody. So I'm looking at it right now. I got Brady one spot ahead of Stafford in my rankings, but man, I just like Stafford so much. I'm gonna go with
Hmm.
Stafford here. Maybe that says I should change my rankings a little bit, but I like both guys. I just feel Stafford, even coming off the injury, I might be a little bit more secure there. I guess it's really a toss up. That's a tough decision for me between Brady and Stafford.
I think I have Stafford ahead of him, like barely. I love Stafford this year.
Yeah, same. I think he's my most owned player in like any drafts I've done.
I think I'm gonna go with quarterback as well because like if some of these guys start going, like I don't want to be starting. I would be fine starting with Joe Burrow if we're being completely honest, but I would
Yeah, I like that.
prefer not to be put in that situation. Basically, the only guys I would draft at this point are Daniel Jones. I mean, I don't even love Goff because of no rushing, but Drew Lock, Rivers, and Burrow are the only players that I would consider. And I like Daniel Jones because I think he was a lot better than we thought he would be, and he's got weapons all around him. He showed a pretty high ceiling. Like he had like some monster games last year. And
Yeah.
if the pick doesn't work out, there are always quarterbacks I can stream. I just think that like his upside is much greater than like you said, like Cousins. Like, I mean, what am I really going to get every week from Cousins? There's no real upside there, especially with Diggs gone. So I just don't see the upside with many of these picks besides probably Drew Lock was the only other one. But I think you got to have some of that rushing upside as well. And I think Jones has a lot of it. How many picks do I have left? That's one thing. So I have 4 picks. The last one will be defense. I've taken quarterback and tight end. So I have 3 bench spots. I have 5 running backs and 3 wide receivers. So I should take at least 2 wide receivers coming up here. Yeah, Crowder's still on the board. He's a guy we've brought up a few times. I'm not going to take Preston Williams and Parker. That's not something you should do. But it would be Crowder, Anthony Miller, Pittman, the exact same names I said like 3 rounds ago, which
Yeah,
was
that's the
why
thing.
that's why I went Higbee because like usually you wait, but now I wouldn't have gotten Higbee at this pick, and I'm still with these exact same players. So I'm gonna take Crowder, and then I'll just hope that one of those guys I just mentioned before is there my next pick.
Yeah, he dropped crazy. I mean, there's a whole run of wide receivers that just went off the board. Wow. But
Yeah,
he just dropped in a crazy way. Like if you get Crowder in like the 9th round, like I think that's a steal. You just got him in the 11th. So
yeah.
it's just not a sexy pick, but he provides a lot of stability and he's used a ton. He had like close to a 30% red zone share last year. It's just nuts. Let's see what we got on the board here. I only got 4 receivers with like I think 4 rounds left. So I'm gonna load up on like 2 to 3 receivers, honestly, because there's still a lot of good names left on the board. The way that I'm looking at it right now is that my best availables at receiver are Preston Williams, Anthony Miller. Based on the receivers that I have right now, Deontay Johnson, those types of names. I think I'm going to go to Anthony Miller here. It's a pretty decent drop off then to some of the rookies that are left. So I'm going to go to
Yeah,
Anthony Miller over Preston Williams. And if the clock comes back around or the turn comes back around, I'd probably take Preston Williams if he stays. And he
nope.
goes.
There you
You
go.
got to think
The
now.
only
It's good for
receiver.
yeah, the only receiver taken. A bunch of defenses taken. Jared Goff, a troll game there by the only receiver left. But yeah, I guess now we got to think a little bit more, which is good. So I still need receivers because I got 5 running backs. At this point, the receivers are so much more talented. The depth there matters a lot more because just my running back depth is pretty stable. I think I'm going to go ahead. A couple of guys. I like N'Keal Harry. He's there. I think I might be able to get him later on. He's right next to Jefferson in these rankings. I like both of those guys. So at this point in the draft, where I think I have some stability with Edelman, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, it's almost a bank on upside over maybe floor. So I'm going to go N'Keal
Mhm.
Harry here over Jefferson. And it's crazy to think a rookie can have a floor, but just going into that offense, I think he's going to see at least a target floor from Minnesota and Justin Jefferson. So I'll take the upside in these later rounds with N'Keal Harry, potentially former first round pick, and honestly maybe put up some top 25 receiver numbers if Stidham is anything better than what everybody thinks he is like the worst quarterback in the league.
Yeah, as a Patriots fan, it was depressing to watch N'Keal Harry last season because he was just
Yeah.
so bad. I mean, even when he got onto the field, he was just so bad. I mean, they clearly thought he was a great receiver. They clearly are invested in him. And Stidham, people will trash him, but he was a talented quarterback prospect. So the Patriots, I don't know. It seems like they're all in with him. They didn't feel like going after Winston. They don't feel like going after Newton. So clearly they like him. I mean, they wouldn't just like, they're not tanking. Maybe there's something there with Harry. So I'm cool with taking the upside there. Because like you said, you don't really want to floor at these picks. I feel like I'm Mr. Rookie or something. I'm looking at Pittman and Rager with these picks, and Jefferson, honestly, because I mean, I expect not to get the exact same amount of targets as Diggs gets, but like pretty close, right? Because he's just going to step into that exact role. Maybe he doesn't command as many because he's obviously not as good as Diggs is. Like at this point, maybe he will be at some point.
Yeah.
I think it would come down to Pittman or Jefferson. And for me, I like Pittman a lot because he's pretty much guaranteed to just be the outside receiver and probably the top red zone receiver on the offense. So I don't really see a case for him not just like playing all of the passing snaps right out of the gate. Like I don't know why they would not do that, and they clearly love him. So I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I think Pittman might be a guy who rises, but since he's a rookie, he would have been a first rounder in any other draft. He's just an absolute freak out there. He's like the most elusive wide receiver. It's almost like a running back. He's just insane. And I think, they want to already make him the X receiver, Vincent Jackson-esque with Phillip Rivers coming in there. Mm-hmm. So I think he can honestly threaten as a top 30, top 25 wide receiver, even better if he can put up just any sort of numbers, get sort of relevant a little bit with Rivers right away.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are going to be concerned about rookie receivers this year because of like limited camp and everything. But like the only receiver you could argue against that is Pittman because like no one's played with Rivers yet. Like the whole team is under that circumstance. So everyone needs to develop that chemistry. So he's not at a disadvantage because everyone has to do it. So am I cool with my receivers? So Juju, Parker, Gallup, Crowder, Pittman. I would like one more. Basically, it's either I take another upside receiver or I handcuff with Edmonds here. And running back is important. Since I have so many, I kind of don't want to grab the handcuff. I want to just take another shot at wide receiver. I mean, yeah, I'll just take another shot. I'll take like my 9th rookie and we'll just take the targets with Jefferson. But it was basically you take Jefferson there and I give myself another chance at receiver since I went away from that, or I take Edmonds and I lock in my running backs. But I feel like even if something happened to Drake, I feel good enough about Clyde and Taylor to where I would be fine. And I want to take that shot with wide receiver.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And yeah, I think that was the pick too. You just had 2 really good rookies on the board. You obviously like Michael Pittman more than just these rankings on Sleeper do, and I do as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at it. I got 6 receivers. I only got, wait, this can't be right. Yeah, okay. My flex is counting as my running back because I got 4 running backs instead of 3. So 1 quarterback, 1 tight end. I think I'm fine just a 14-round draft to leave this draft with just 1 quarterback and a running back. You're going to, if this was just not a mock, you're going to have so many opportunities at waivers. The tight ends left, nothing that's like crazy. Like I do like Chris Herndon. I like some of these guys, but odds are they're on the waivers. So with 2 rounds left, 6 receivers, 4 running backs. Honestly, I think I'm okay getting to a 7th receiver here. We have to technically take a defense, but we can just pick that up later. So let's see. Wide receivers left. There's guys left like Alan Lazard, Rager. These guys do stand out. I'm going to take a little bit of a stab on a guy who after week 1 might be a top waiver priority for people. I'm going to go Denzel Mims here, another rookie. Probably could have got him in the 14th round where my pick is right now, honestly. But I'm going to go Denzel Mims. I think he could be the number 1 receiver right away. Like Perriman's his only threat, a guy who took like 4.5, 5 years to break out and injuries to Godwin and Evans with the number 1 passing offense last year to just have a decent month of his career. So, I mean, Mims just stood out a ton in terms of all the rookie stuff in the combine and in the Pro Bowl or the Senior Bowl, all that type of stuff. So I'll take a little bit of a shot on him there. Lazard I was looking at, but I'm full on receivers now. I got 7. Looking at it now, I guess we have to take defenses, but if I wasn't to take a defense, just to kind of pick one, if this was, since it is a mock draft, other guys left on the board right now. Receiver, I'm full on. This is a spot where you can go back up tight end if you feel strong about a guy, in my opinion. The last pick, man, I am full at receiver. There's a guy that I wanted, but I want to take Antonio Brown, but I don't want 8 receivers now. Just because if that guy signs with Seattle, if he signs with the Packers, I don't think it's going to happen. But if he does, he becomes a 14th round pick that you got, and he should be a guy that goes in like the first 4 to 5 rounds. So,
and if you were drafting right now, that would be a pick because like, why are you taking a defense in June? right? Like
Exactly.
you take Antonio Brown and you just
Exactly. Like this last round pick, I'm going to end up choosing. I got like 40 seconds. I'm just going to end up taking another running back here. I'll take Antonio Gibson, another rookie, just to fill out a running back spot. I didn't end up taking a defense. Just mock draft. Honestly, even in a real draft at this early, I wouldn't even take a defense. I would just hold and wait what happens. Like you
mhm.
said, even with AB.
I was really hoping Zach Moss would be on the board at my pick, but of course he goes one before.
Saw that.
He's like my favorite late round pick right now. I'd consider him in the. I think he should be going like the 10th, probably the 10th round. He's going to have value regardless, and probably all of the goal line work right out of the gate. And another guy, something happens to Singletary, immediately going to be like everyone's waiver wire pickup. And I don't even think he should be on the waiver wire. So honestly, the only other running backs I'd look at, if I had Miles Sanders, I would consider Boston Scott. McFarland, I like Joshua Kelly for that upside. So I'd consider McFarland. Are there any wide receivers? I mean, I could take another rookie receiver in Rager. Who are some non-rookies I like? Cobb. People don't like Cobb, but he's going to be the slot receiver for Houston. I don't think they're going to run Fuller, Cooks, and Stills. I don't think they'd use all of them at the same time. It wouldn't make much sense. So I think Cobb's going to be in 3 receiver sets. Renfro is another name. I think people are forgetting about how good he was. He's already established in that team. Steven Sims is like a super deep sleeper if you wanted to take that. Cobb here. No.
I like that pick.
Either Cobb or McFarland. I don't even care which one you would take. I'll take McFarland or Cobb. Who cares which one you take? But that's what I'd be looking at.
I was actually going to say at my Antonio Gibson pick, I saw I was running out of time and I saw him on the clock last round. I actually like McFarland better. Like if I looked at it a little bit more, I probably would have taken him there. But I completely agree on Cobb. Like I don't know if I'm biased because I'm a former Packer fan, but if he a former Packer fan, I am a Packer fan. He's a former Packer. If he did not fill the place of, he didn't fill it. He's a slot receiver, but like if he didn't come in and people associated him with filling the place of DeAndre Hopkins, and instead people were just like, this guy's going to get more work than Kenny Stills now, or whatever it is, they would have been like, oh, well, this guy was highly efficient last year in an offense, and now he's going into this offense where there's injured bodies and Brandon Cooks and Fuller. Like this looks good, but the narrative is completely flipped because it's all of a sudden he's just somehow the replacement for DeAndre Hopkins.
I think it's because people know it's just such a dumb move that people are like, oh, I hate that team, even though they just lost Hopkins. Like you need to like this team because like the targets are all available now, and plus having, like you said, he's behind Cooks and Fuller, who just, I mean, they could both get hurt for like stretches, and Cobb would just be the big guy getting like 12 targets a game.
Yeah, exactly. And he was good last year. They just gave him, I think, 17 million guaranteed. Like he's not just sitting on the bench with that money.
Yeah, it's like a $27 million contract for 3 years. Like they're not benching him. Like they're clearly going to use him.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think that's a good pick late. And I think another thing, like for people that are still watching, just these types of mocks, like just the 14 rounds, I do the same exact thing just for the review of the video. It goes just quicker, it's easier, it's more concise. But like if you can if you're the commissioner or vote on it, like get 20 rounds, just get a ton of rounds, because at this point, if you're watching a video right now, you are into this, you're into it early. You just benefit so much more from not leaving guys like, I don't know, like Hunter Renfrow, like you were saying, like a Cobb, like a Anthony McFarland on the waivers, if you can just hoard them all.
No, yeah. I tried to get, so my league only has 5 bench spots, and we used to be in standard. So I finally got them to switch to half PPR, and I'm trying to get them to get more bench spots. But if you're ever in that decision, it is always beneficial if you're preparing for a draft, you know what you're doing, to have as many bench spots as possible. Because you're going to be in leagues where people get into the 10th round, they have no idea who they're taking. And if you can get to like 17, 18 total picks, so like getting into like 7, 8, 9 bench spots, like it's always going to benefit you, because there are always names at the end of these drafts where like, I want like 5 more of these players, and they're on free agency and those other people don't know about them. So it's always beneficial to add more bench spots.
100%. Just like an example, we moved from 6 to 8 bench spots last year in my main league, like my home league. And I think, I don't know, it's so far down this chain at that point, but like guys like Deebo Samuel are like my 7th bench spot player. And it's just, I hold on to them for like 6, 7 weeks. You know, they're a rookie. You don't really care too much. And then they have good weeks down the stretch. You can do that with so many players. And honestly, if it doesn't work out, then there's just so much, there's no downside to it at that point. You're not relying on them.
And then when you have 5 bench spots, maybe you have like a handcuff with one of them. Maybe you have a few guys you like, and then you get like these AJ Browns on waivers, and you don't know what to do because you only have 5 bench spots, and it's like you only have maybe one guy that you can even drop. Whereas you can get like 9, there's always like 2 or 3 dudes. You're like, okay, I'll drop him for AJ Brown.
Yeah, it's so like if you play for money right now, like and you're watching this, like text your league and say like let's do a vote because your upside goes through the roof. Like just think about
Hmm.
Antonio Brown. Like it's weird to want to pick a guy like that if you only have 5 bench
Hmm.
spots. It's almost like a waste, but just hoard him there. You're not going to use whoever you're going to pick with your last pick anyways. You can take two as a third quarterback just shooting for upside. You could just load up the upside on your bench with, yeah, sure, these 5 guys individually, none of them might work out, but as a group, if you get one of them to pop off, you just have so much better chance of winning your league.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we should just run through the team
Yeah.
once over here, just so people can have a recap. So I went. I'll do general strategy. This is how I typically build a team. I went 4 running backs in the first 5 picks. So I got Zeke, Drake, Clyde, and Taylor with Juju, the only receiver. Then I started attacking receiver a little bit more in the next 2 rounds, got Parker and Gallup. Went back to running back just to basically finish off the guys I feel good about with Dobbins because I thought that was kind of the end of a tier. Um, After that, didn't see a reason to take running back or wide receiver because there was a bunch of guys I liked, but they were going kind of late. So just picked up tight end and quarterback with Higbee and Daniel Jones. Grabbed a bunch of wide receivers late that I liked, Crowder, Pittman, Jefferson, and then the upside pick of McFarland at the last pick. So I think that's like a good strategy to building out a draft. So I don't know. I like my team a lot.
Yeah, I think the way that so we have like very similar strategies in terms of like getting 4 running backs in your first 5 picks. I think is the ideal way. The way so I went 3 running backs in a row. I would have gone with a fifth running back, but DJ Moore just fell so far. So
Yeah.
it was just an easy pick at that point. And the guy that I would have went with, Kareem Hunt, falls, so it was just beneficial. But yeah, I think that when you do that, you get those 4 or even 3 running backs with your first 4, but 4 running backs in your first 5 or 6 picks. You don't have to touch the position until, like you said, you shoot for some of those upside rookies, some maybe second year guys, whatever it might be, maybe the high end upsides like Latavius Murray, Kareem Hunt's later on. But those are the types of things you don't have to worry about. You just load up on receivers at that point, get a
Hmm.
quarterback tight end whenever later in those rounds. I think, yeah, we took our tight ends and quarterbacks the exact same rounds, 9th and 10th. So I feel good about the draft. 3 running backs in a row. I don't love Todd Gurley. The opportunity's there. We'll see if he has anything left. I think he'll have all the opportunity to, but at that point was fine getting another running back, another workhorse style guy. Get Allen Robinson, DJ Moore. I feel really good about both of them as potential wide receiver ones at the end of the year. So
Yeah.
that felt good. And then I sort of get these Kareem Hunt and Julian Edelman picks where they have upside. And right now I think they're both being drafted at maybe Kareem Hunt will rise a little bit, but Edelman definitely being drafted at like a floor. Like this is a guy last year was like top 5 in the league in targets, and sure Brady's not there, but if Stidham is not the worst quarterback in the league and he's the 20th ranked quarterback at the end of the year, Edelman's going to be a guy who should have been taken in like the 4th or 5th round and not the 7th round where he's going consistently. So yeah, like at the later round wide receivers shooting for upside with guys like N'Keal Harry, Denzel Mims. I think that's exactly really like after you get your really 6th, 7th round pick. I think shooting for upside and the rest of your picks, depending on how deep your league is probably the best way to go.
Yeah. And even like I'm looking at some of these other teams. I know these aren't humans, like they're just computers. So it's not going to end up happening this way. But we loaded up on running backs early, and we're still pretty cool with the wide receivers we got. There are some teams like we'll say team 12. They have Julio, Brown, and Ridley. That's a really good core wide receiver. They're not that deep at receiver. They only have Hardman and Preston Williams after. And their running backs, while they have Chubb, after Chubb, they have Mostert, Akers, Duke Johnson. And like if something happened to Chubb, they just lose. They just lost the league because they have nothing really secure behind that. And like team 6 has Chris
Yeah, my
Carson,
my
Damian
man
Williams,
team
and
six
nothing.
is
Like
my man team 6 was drinking a little too much during this draft.
like I know he's got like a nice receiver core, but it's not even that much better than what we have. And he only has Carson, Damian Williams, and Adrian Peterson. I get
That's
it if you
rough.
want to load up on some of these values at wide receiver, but they're still there in the middle rounds. The gap's not that big, but the gap is huge at running back.
Yeah, and like the exact same thing you were saying. I don't like the strategy of the other guy next to you at 5 running backs in a row, but his receivers are Landry, Will Fuller, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Williams. Those aren't great receivers. Like the first couple are pretty good. I would like Landry, I would like Fuller, but that's such a better team when you load up your running backs than
Mm-hmm.
the guy who's having to roll out there in a flex one week, or if anybody gets injured, Adrian Peterson or Damian Williams every single week. So like even if you load up on running backs early, it just based on all these drafts that we've been doing, it just looks like the much better option than taking a bunch of receivers. Like zero RB for this year at least. It does not seem that viable. Maybe it'll become viable
No,
depending on ADPs.
it probably won't. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
need to get some of these guys in these first 2 rounds because the odds that like Sony Michel, Lindsey, Daryl Henderson, these guys going in like the 7th, 8th round, the odds that they jump without like major injuries into this tier is pretty low. And you're going to get by with the wide receivers in that range much more than you will trying to start. Like if I'm starting Zeke and Drake and you're starting like Carson and Damian Williams, like I have such a leg up on you that it doesn't even matter what your wide receivers are.
Yeah, and at that point, you're just, I mean, you're trying to leverage a good wide receiver week 1, 2, or 3 and hope for a trade at that point when you could have just drafted the player in, I don't know, David Johnson, Jonathan Taylor in your 4th round instead of T.Y. Hilton or what are these guys? Robert Woods. Actually, I think Robert Woods is a good pick, but like T.Y. Hilton, Sutton, those types of names.
Yeah, but he just like he doesn't need. When's he going to use Sutton? You know, like you're gonna. When are you ever going to start him on this team? All right, I think that's going to do it. I like our teams. I think it was helpful going over 2 different people's strategy from 2 different spots, like going early and going late. We weren't like cannibalizing each other's picks at the same spot. So I think it went good.
It's crazy how close, like, I mean, there's different rounds where I take a receiver, you take a running back, but the general strategy of the early running backs, that 9th, 10th round for the tight end and quarterback late rounds, and then loading up on upside, it's very like clear, like what the optimal, at least from like people who are plugged into the industry, like there's an optimal strategy right now. And if you take that strategy against just your basic league mates, basic people you're playing against in whatever leagues online, like you should be a leg up on them. And that's that. So thank you for tuning into this video. That is the draft. I actually like my team. You can see I have the entire thing right now. I'll zoom in a little bit. I do like my team a good amount. Like I said in the video, I kind of broke it down already, but the 3 running backs in a row and 4 running backs in your first 5 picks is my ideal strategy. But when a guy in DJ Moore, who is a top 12 and really a top 15 consensus wide receiver for everybody, but a top 12 guy for me, falls to the end of the 5th round, at that point, you just have to smash the draft button because he's such a better value than any other running back, than any other wide receiver on the board. And then I got the guy that I was debating on taking with the 5th pick if DJ Moore wasn't there, in Kareem Hunt in the next round. So the strategy worked out. I liked what I did here. Double tapped wide receiver in the 7th and 8th rounds, and then we got some more wide receivers, triple tapped them through rounds 11 through 13. The 14th round, I probably would have taken Anthony McFarland. I didn't end up getting there. You can see here at the bottom of the screen, I ended up getting to Antonio Gibson. Not a major difference. I don't even know. Anthony McFarland, I think, was taken by Nick here to end his draft. So yeah, I think that's completely fine. I thought this draft was fun. I want to do more collaboration efforts. One, me and Nick will probably discuss some things as the summer gets deeper, and even with these mock drafts with some other creators. Very simple to do, very easy. Let me know what you think of this video. If you watched all the way through, let me know what you think of my specific draft. You could let me know what you think of Nick's draft. Be sure to check out Nick's channel, Fantasy Football Advice. Subscribe over there and hit the subscribe button here right now. A big old one just popped up on the screen. Tap that like button. Reach out to me here in the YouTube comments or over on Twitter at SalVetriDFS with any questions that you may have. Top 25 running back rankings for 2020 fantasy football, totally free to download down below, as well as keeping an eye out for June 15th. I mean, a couple of days from now, it's going to be releasing the draft guide. I'm very excited for that. You can look at some of the pre-order information down below in the description of this video. Things are going to be really cheap. It's packed with value. So thank you so much. My name is Sal Vetri. As always, I appreciate you tuning into this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.